Hello everyone, Revive in 5 time again. Let me jump right into the scripture here. 1 Timothy 1:5 says this: "The aim of our charge is love that issues from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith." The Apostle Paul, if you read here in scripture, and I have been the last couple of days, like 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, and then into 1 Timothy, what you see are a lot of instructions. And oftentimes these instructions are taken, in my viewpoint, out of context, and it doesn't proceed with people understanding why instructions are given. Adrian and I were just discussing here before Revive in 5 started that, when you're raising children, oftentimes parents, because of their busy schedule, they want to teach their children correctly, but oftentimes, just because of the constraints of time, it seems like the love message is not taught first, and then almost what you have sometimes is a guilt complex, and so then you can't teach the discipline side of it because there's not enough of the other. This is what the Apostle Paul is actually addressing here. The aim of our charge, the reason we're giving you some instruction here, Timothy. And this actually goes along with, if you read that there in 1 Timothy 5, the aim of our charge. This actually resorts all the way back to Romans chapter 10, verse 17. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Christos. In other words, the charge that we're giving you, what should be going off on the inside of you is, yeah, I've heard Jesus say that, and now that I'm hearing it from you, it agrees with that. You see, it's never standalone away from what Jesus is saying. And he says, my charge is love, that you prefer people, and that when you give instruction, when you tell people, this is really not good for your life, and you do it from a selfish motivation, it'll always be received wrong. And unfortunately, I think the church has been guilty of that at times, that, it's just so much. Everybody knows what the church is against, but they don't know what the church is for. And overwhelmingly, the church is for you. Wants the best for your life, wants things to happen in your life. And so the instruction is supposed to be because we want the best for your life, not because we're trying to condemn you in whatever problems you have in life, whether it be marital issues, whether it be sexual orientation issues, whether it be in money issues. If we don't do this from what the Apostle Paul is telling here, and this is what he's talking about, the aim of our charge is love that issues from a pure heart. In other words, it's a heart that has been led by the Spirit of God, not by selfish human motivation.
Amen.
If you're doing it from there, keep the old mouth shut, because the only thing you're going to do is harm. And a good conscience. This is awesome here. Conscience is actually the word sunodesis, and it means together knowing. In other words, Romans 10:17. If Jesus hasn't spoken it to you, if you don't know this because you have been taught by him and now you're relaying that to somebody else, that's not a good conscience. In other words, that's your opinion. And your opinion is just like mine. It's just something that perhaps life has taught you, or something you've experienced that's not the truth. It might be fact in your life, but it's not the truth. A good conscience, a godly knowing together, epignosis, because you fully know because of something he has taught you. And he goes on to say here, a sincere faith. And oftentimes we miss these words because it's in our English, a lot of times we don't quite have the whole meaning here, but a sincere, unhypocritical. In other words, it's unfeigned. It's a word that we don't use normally in our English, but what that means, not phony. It doesn't come from human personal experience. It comes from God's revelation inside of you. If it's God's revelation, and you're communicating that to somebody, then it's sincere faith. But if it's just your opinion again, then it is it is being critical, and oftentimes being a hypocrite. It's being hypocritical. It's being, this one area in my life, I think I have it correct, and so I try to broadcast that. I try to put that over on you. I try to project that onto you. But it's not because God is telling you to do that. It's because I just want you to change and line up with how I want you to line up so I can feel better about it. And so, you see, the whole thing that the Apostle Paul, before all the instruction here, before all the different sins that he lists here in Timothy, and even the Apostle Paul goes on to say, hey, and of all this, I am the worst. I'm the foremost. And then he finishes up here, and I know I'm a little over, but verse 18, after we go from this verse 5, this charge, all of this, I'm telling you, I entrust into you. He comes right back to it and says, this thing that is inspired to you because Jesus has spoken into your heart, I entrust that to you. Not because it comes from your human thought process, not because it comes from a faith that you have willed to be, but you have got it from God Himself. And when we do that, then we can give people instruction, and we can talk to people and help them in their lives. So, how do I use all this today, Eddie? Study what the Word teaches, and know that if it's not coming from a spirit of love, from a spirit of I prefer you, and I'm trying to help you because of you, no human selfish reason, then we can actually relate to other people what the gospel is, the good news of Jesus. I hope you've learned something today. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.